Hey everybody, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. This is a very different episode this week. We're not actually playing the game, we're talking about the game. And I said that in a very weird way, but it's fine.
I didn't know if you wanted a cheer or something.
I mean, feel free to cheer if you want.
Yay!
Yay! I'm here with the players of the game.
Yay!
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? I'll introduce myself as well. I should be doing that really. This is going well. It's going really well. I'm not.
You're not cutting this. This is your intro.
Yeah, it's going to stay. We built up 6 episodes of good reputation of like, these guys, they're new, but they've got a fairly high production standard, and then just throw it all away in episode 7.
We just hijack the shit.
Fuck it.
That's how we roll. Okay. Yeah, I'm AJ. I'm the DM of Pretending with Dice, which you are listening to. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Eden. I make a podcast with another one of the guys on here called Popped Culture. You can find me on Twitter at Monkey Magic Eden. I feel like I need to go on and say other things, but I'm going to pass the mic.
Who do you play on this podcast?
Oh, I am Prance, the Fire Mage. He's not really a Fire Mage, but that's what I'm calling him right now.
He likes to burn things.
I do.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Mark.
That's not how you speak.
Is that not my normal voice?
I'm very effective today.
This is my normal voice, and usually I play Bork Mantap. But today I'll be playing me.
In your hardest role to date.
Never play yourself.
Damn, son, you played yourself. Sorry, carry on.
Last one.
Yeah.
My name is Jason. I play Enode. I'm also on Twitter. I'm not telling you what my handle is, because fuck you.
It's going well.
They'll find you easily enough.
Yeah, I'm tagged in every episode.
Yeah. So yeah, we're here today to just kind of have a bit of a chat about the game and like stuff related to it. After we turned the mics off on our last session, we kind of were like, okay, cool, we're done. That was great. It was a lot of fun. And then the microphones were off, and then we sat and had like a half-hour conversation about the thing, and we're like, we probably should have been recording this as well. So yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a chat about what happened before, and we've also got some questions that have been sent in by some of you to answer. So we'll see how that goes. There's probably, may not, or maybe longer. I was going to say maybe not be as long as our regular episodes, but we'll just we've got no clue how long this is going to go on for, so we'll see what happens. Something a bit different. So yeah. I figured we'd just sort of start at the beginning. I mean, this has been you guys' first time playing this kind of game before, really, hasn't it? What did you think? What's your first impressions?
Well, I had a really good laugh, personally. I thought it was great. It was good fun, sort of activating the imagination and getting to run wild with sort of like rolling the dice and feeling like the numbers are dictating where your brain can go, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of works a little bit. That's kind of in how your characters are built, really, almost, isn't it? Because you're like, well, I'm good at doing this kind of thing, so I could try this. Yeah. And
just leaning into that a little bit. It's unusual, obviously. I forget if we mentioned previously when we were recording what our experience with games of this nature is.
I don't think we really did. That was. I realised that after going through it, I was like, I never really said that you guys hadn't played before, and yeah.
Because obviously we've not played the tabletop stuff. Like me personally, I've played hundreds of games with like systems related to all of this. The old Knights of the Old Republic games are all based on versions of Dungeons and Dragons.
I think it's 3.5. Yeah.
That's it. It's older versions of the game, but it's sort of on a base level. I'm very familiar with all of the concepts, which I think probably came through.
Yeah. You had a vague sort of I think this is related to this, but.
That's it. I think I can do this. Can you confirm it for me? I'm the only one that was doing that in particular, I think. And it was mostly because I wanted to do slightly audacious things.
Yeah, you're testing the boundaries a little bit. Like, can I turn this familiar into a turret?
Yeah, pretty much. It would have been a nice idea. Setting fire to the windowsill on day one.
No, that was fine.
My very first aggressive manoeuvre was
I will
quite a satisfying thing in the end.
Yeah, I think it. Is interesting to see. Like, I could see you putting stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For me, it was complete virgin territory. I don't like RPGs. I don't.
You're on the right podcast.
Do you now?
My gaming experience is circa PlayStation 2, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, well,
to the point.
That's good, because like I'd hate to think that we sat through like however many hours of recording sessions for the others, and then you come in and be like, I didn't really like it. I just
not my bag, baby.
Yeah,
hanging out was fun, but no, it was all good.
Yeah, cool.
That's my intro for that.
Let's see what-
Well,
okay.
How did you find it?
Oh God, you're all asking questions.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
Passing the
it.
ball. Passing the ball.
Passing the
Chucking it
imaginary
around.
ball. Classic improv. I really enjoyed it. As we've said, I've never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
So it was good to do. I've seen role-playing games being played in the store I used to go to. Was never really for me because I didn't get on with many of the people doing it. I think a large part of it is obviously who you're playing with.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
yeah.
we're all
Like a
good
bad group
friends.
can ruin a game.
I can imagine it's infuriating. Even one bad player, I'd imagine, kind of.
Oh, yeah,
stifle
yeah,
it. So
sure.
it was nice to play with people that. I mean, we all usually get together for game nights and stuff anyway. So
Yeah, it wasn't like I kind of pulled together a group of like, okay, I think Jason might like this, and I think this person over here who's never met Jason
No.
might like this, and I think this person over here
It's nice
who's
to-
never met either of them might like this, and whereas like I say, we all meet up
yeah,
from now and again to play games anyway, and
yeah.
well, we've all podcasted together before as well. Which
Well, exactly. We've been
Yeah.
sitting and chatting at length for quite some time now. Like, we'll know each other very well. We know our foibles and our little quirks and what have you, and what to expect a little bit. Like, you guys knew that I was going to come with some weird stuff with my character at some point. I was going to do something that was a bit like, oh, well, this is possible, but nobody would really do that.
I mean, once it was
Apart from
called
me.
Bronze, that was kind of that was the,
Exactly.
that was the start, wasn't it?
well, I mean, we'd been meaning to play for a while, hadn't we? It must have
Yeah.
been like a year previously or
Oh,
something.
yeah, this is a
Well,
long time coming.
Probably when I first started getting into like D&D, or no, I've been playing for a little bit, and it came up somehow, and I don't know, it was probably me who put it forward. It was like, hey guys, like on the next game now, why don't we play D&D instead? And then we never did, but like you came up with the Prince character concept. You were like,
Yeah.
I want a wizard who really likes Prince or something like that. And that's pretty much where we got to.
Drew a picture and thought, yeah, I'm kind of sold on this guy.
Yeah.
Didn't have anything in mind apart from any of that. Like, all the rest of it came together as we were going, pretty much.
Yeah. But,
But obviously, like, I don't want to steal the limelight,
No, go
but
for it,
just
go for
in question terms, obviously, I did think about it beforehand. Like, how much did you guys think about your characters ahead of time? Like,
I just wing it. I just wing
Yeah.
everything in my life. To be fair.
Not a whole lot. I spend more time on the algorithm of my name, or the anagram, than creating anything else, really.
yeah.
Bork's a good one.
Bork is a good one.
I think with you, Jason, like I literally was like, "What do you want your character to be like?" You're like a sneaky, cool dude.
Basically, I was just like Batman. Basically, I just want to be Batman. Make me Batman.
Yeah, pretty much.
A MILF man.
Well, especially, and then when I was like, "What's his name?" You're like, "I guess just my Twitter handle,"
Yeah.
and it was like, fair enough. Okay.
Well, end of
yeah.
day's the name I use in every game and have
Yeah.
done since
Oh,
I
that's
was
fair,
like
fair play.
11.
Can I get an origin story to this?
End of day.
Yeah.
Have I not told it?
No.
So when I was in secondary school, basically me and my friend designed a game in air quotes, which I'm not doing. There's no point because
It's
it's
more-
it's an audio podcast.
In the theatre of the mind, you did the air quotes.
Exactly.
It looked more like you were holding an imaginary watermelon, like
Are we all holding imaginary watermelons?
all the time.
But yeah, basically me and my friend designed the game, and the character was called Enode because it's an anagram of the one. Because I'm a big old fucking nerd, and it's just stuck. But it's one of those things that I very rarely think about the origin of it. Because it's not relevant. It was my gamer tag on
existed.
Xbox. Now it's my PS. Now it's just fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
So it
There you
just
go.
is. It's my online identifier. Basically.
I've learned something today
There you
about
go.
you.
We learned something. I'm a big old nerd. I feel like you should
I don't
have
feel
known
like
that.
I learned anything.
It
I
took,
feel like nothing has changed.
it took
It's
6
like a-
hours of D&D for Mark to realise that Jason might be a little bit of a nerd.
6 hours of DVD and countless game nights.
Wait, your name's Jason?
Well, shit.
I thought his name was Stan. Oh God.
Oh no.
All those letters I wrote.
But no, I put a little bit of thought into my character purely
Yeah.
because it fell in nicely that Eden was playing a mage, Mark was playing a warrior, and I was playing a thief. I think that was a very
Yeah,
useful.
I think it was a little bit by design because we did have a bit of like over a long period of time we were kind of talking about it and saying like, oh okay, well you were the first one you came out with like say, oh I'm playing Prance, he's a wizard, and then it was almost I got the feeling there was a little bit of like, well I could play this kind of guy.
Yeah.
We've all, like I say, we've all played mostly. I mean, like you say, Mark, you're not really into RPG video games that much,
No.
but like we've all played enough kind of party-based stuff where we're like, well, we can't all be the one class, or we'll just
Yeah.
get stomped on. Like,
Or can you imagine an entire army of pyromaniacs would be quite
Oh,
entertaining. Everything is on fire. Nobody survived.
well, we were looking at spells last night, weren't we? On
Oh,
that, and I was like, at least you haven't got Firestorm yet, and it's basically. There's an animated GIF from Apocalypse Now where the whole tree line goes up in like napalm. I was like, yeah, that's basically that spell. So that's probably a good thing. There's not
Just keep,
like
keep them away from anything more powerful than grease. I think.
Give us enough time. I'm gonna get some more spells later.
yeah. Well, we got to level up in a minute, haven't we? And
I'm quite looking forward to it. It's
Trying
kind of the whole point. The only reason I play RPGs is to level up.
got to get that XP. Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely contemplating killing the other two just to get experience points at one point. So
I was actually a little surprised how quickly you went from like, okay, so we're playing D to like, I want to not rage quit the game, but rage quit the adventuring party, like, and still play the game. So,
I'm in on the game, but I want to level up.
Yeah.
Let's go kill some slimes. I stand by it.
yeah,
There are no slimes in the D&D universe.
there's lots of slimes.
There are slimes.
Yeah.
Let's kill some fucking slimes. We're not going to kill slimes, are we?
Probably not today.
No, I'm not.
No.
I did enjoy the dynamic that built up quite quickly around the group, where it was kind of like, okay, so we've got. Well, sorry, Prawns was in some.
There was some.
Yeah, prawns, obviously.
Yeah, kind of. I'm not going to pretend like I didn't play into that ever so
Many
slightly.
sighs and groans were had.
But that was kind of the fun. Was like the dynamic went from
It was like
okay, so
having kids.
we're just a bunch of guys that are travelling together, basically. Like you guys were together, and then you saw me performing. We're going down the road together, and then shit hits the fan. And suddenly you're thrust into this problematic situation with a guy that's clearly going to do things that like you have no control over. And Enos, I almost said Enos just to like.
I mean,
Anyway.
yeah, I was gonna say you're still not right.
Oh well, I'm not even being promised right now. I'm sleeping right. I'm going to lay down the excuse now.
We'll get you like some giant flashcards to just.
They.
E dash.
To be fair, the tone of I feel the tone of our characters' interactions was set when Mark said that Bork had met me because I was the person that like
Got him some
gave him some bottle for a goat or something. I was just like, what the fuck
Yeah.
are these characters I'm playing with?
I kind of like at a certain point I was going to have Bovril be this illicit kind of drug substance, but then like when you went, I
Like scuba.
kind of well, yeah, but then I kind of screwed that up when you ordered a cup of it in the pub in the morning, and I was just like, oh, I should go and get you some because that was like, oh, and then I realised afterwards I was like, oh man, that would have been fun because like then it adds this whole extra dimension of like actually like you're his drug dealer and like and you two are just tooling around with this guy you found, like it's some kind of weird Pineapple Express kind of deal, but like yeah.
And you didn't like the oddball at first, but me and Bork we managed to find common ground.
We did.
In alcohol, yeah.
Well, the elf
We are
skulked
British.
off and sulked around the fact that nobody was being serious.
I was trying to save the people. It's an RPG. If you don't do the quest, you don't get experience, and you need to level up. I take these things very seriously.
I'm still a little annoyed that we lost that interaction just right at the start of the first combat because that was kind of. It kind of got to the point where like you guys had heard the scream, we're like we better go investigate that, and then the audio cut out. And let's just double checking there, literally, yeah, just in case. The audio cut out, and then it came back in when we were already in the combat, and you had already like set one fire, and
yeah.
like
Bork had already sent his.
He drew his sword, isn't he?
Yeah, but we missed this whole thing of you guys finding a dead body and debating whether to just loot its pockets, and it's literally just like a man who's within a minute ago just been stabbed to death.
He's still warm.
And like it was, yeah, he was still warm. Like you can hear screams coming from his house, which is like 20 feet away, and you're like, should we just go through his pockets real quick? Like,
Don't drag me down with these two. That was their idea.
I was going to say, I forget who exactly said it. Like, I want to say that it was me, just based on like general RPG habits of like, well, he's got to have loot on him.
Yeah, I vaguely remember you almost peer pressuring Bork into doing it because like you were like Bork, Mark. I'm already slipping into like game, like calling you by your character names, but like you were like, I guess Bork kind of wants to sort of find out if he's still alive, so you were like checking his pulse and stuff, and then I've got a vague memory of you being like, go through his pockets while you're doing it. And like, it's a real shame. Like my computer screwed up and we lost it, and it sucked that it happened in the first episode as well.
Yeah,
but
teething problems.
yeah.
It's probably better that happened in the first episode than like
Oh
the last
yeah.
one.
Oh, and then on the second session, we really learned to be like every so often just stop recording and start again, so you don't lose stuff. But yeah.
So we shouldn't run into that in the future.
No. I mean, I got a vague feeling it was to do with Photoshop, but then it did happen to me again the other day. But I noticed it happening, so I don't quite know what's up with that.
Technology, right?
Yeah, because we never had that problem before ever. And yeah, okay. Well, that's a technical thing. Was the game anything like you guys thought it would be, sort of thing? Because having not played anything like it before,
I felt like it worked out better than I'd expected.
right?
Like a lot of the moments, like obviously you can only sort of do so much thinking ahead of time about like what's going to be possible, what are the scenarios here, and how are we going to mesh in terms of like everybody's got a different idea of what they're going to do, and obviously Mark, you've got the least experience out with the concept more than anything
Absolutely,
else.
yeah.
So
It still defies my brain in some places. So.
that's it. So I didn't really expect a huge amount, but then feeling like a lot of the things just came together beautifully. One thing that made me laugh, because obviously I listened back to it all, the last episode in particular, having the flowers come back around as being something meaningful when we made such a deal of like,
Well, 'cause I took the
who is
piss
this
out of
man
it.
that keeps flowers in his
Yeah,
toilet?
because
Like,
Mark was like, what kind of a man has flowers in his toilet? So you're being really fucking sexist. Oh, and so's the DM, as it turns out.
No, I'll tell you what that was, is that I had originally planned for the flowers to be on his mantelpiece, but before I could say it, you were like, I want to go check out the toilet, and I was like, well,
I need to go to the shit.
I was like, well, I've got to put the flowers in
Classic
somewhere.
Bork.
It would be kind of funny if like Bork found them in the toilet, and it was a weird thing. And then you made a thing of it, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. Because I already had it down as like, yeah, this is like the clue that they find later on. I was like, this is kind of funny that they're making a big joke of it, and then it turned out to be like the button on the end of one of the episodes and everything. That was just timing. I literally, like, when I edit, I was like, I skip in hour-long increments, find the nearest joke and cut. And it's pretty much,
like that.
and yeah.
That's it. Like just the way it came together beautifully for little moments like that. I thought it was great.
I was quite pleased with how that turned out, because that could have been one of those things that I'd have just said it and like you guys would have completely forgotten about it.
Well, I did. Like listening back to it, I could hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
I was like, I had genuinely forgotten all
It
about
is like
flowers in
there's
the toilet.
daffodils, and we're like, I mean, they're a nice flower, but I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Well, and then you were like, oh, right. Yeah, it took you a couple of seconds.
It took us a while.
I think I may have cut out a little bit of dead air on the original recording. Just a little bit behind the curtain, guys.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell them.
Yeah. No, perfect. No edits in this show. None at all. I certainly don't cut out 2 or 3 minutes of looking through books per episode.
And me suffering from hay fever.
Oh, I didn't realise that was the first
Apologies
episode.
for the other episodes.
Yeah, there was a lot of sniffing cut
I was
out.
dying.
Yeah. I
I mean, we're all dying.
It was-
but
it
we're
was-
dying in accelerated
It was
rate.
me and you, because sometimes it was when I was talking and that was when you were doing it, and sometimes you were talking and I'm just there going. It's pretty bad. There we go. See, I'm setting you off now. But
I thought
Yeah.
it was a bit, like you said, like Eden just said it. I'm definitely the least experienced and least knowledgeable about this stuff, and probably have the most, or maybe obvious preconceived ideas of what a game like this can be.
What did you have a thought for?
I think I want to go full extreme in terms of like the stereotypes and all that, because I think that's kind of a dead thing now. Like, you know,
yeah. I'm like, do you guys want to play D&D? And you're like, AJ, you don't even have a basement.
It's like 8 hours at the end of the street.
Your beard isn't anywhere near close enough to your neck.
But AJ,
I'll
you
come
shower.
into
You don't even have a Federer.
the lights are down low, there's candles, everyone's in druids costumes, I don't know. Crazy shit.
I can go get my Jedi robe with
Well,
that.
you could
and
do that
feel
anyway, yeah.
more comfortable.
That's a different kind of party.
It really wasn't that much further from.
Just hanging out.
Really, it wasn't
Yeah.
just hanging out. It was, if you wanted, you could almost say it was like a Monopoly game, I suppose. Any
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
board game.
But with more stabbing.
With a
Or
bit more
less stabbing,
and a little
but-
more. Rather than just rolling a dice and moving a piece, you are the piece, and the interaction is the only new thing involved here. And that takes you a while to get used to and be comfortable with anybody, I think, to want to act. Air quote marks.
I think that's one of the big hurdles, is kind of like going into it. People are
Being
used
open to
to, they think if they're playing a game with dice, it's like, well, what moves can my guy do? And it's really like the biggest hurdle is to get over the thought of like, well, no, don't think of it in terms of moves, just think of it in terms of like, what do I want to do, and then I tell you whether you can do it or
Right,
not,
yeah.
rather than like,
I come from a much more, let's call it snake and ladders world, where I roll a dice and I see 4 spots, then I want to move 4 spots on that board, and this involved me to think more like, oh, it's not about that, it's about I want to do something. I want to
pull it up the outhouse.
Exactly.
Yeah, the roll comes later. Rather
mostly
than,
I learned that I can't roll for shit. I don't have any dice skill.
Yeah. None of the dice skill.
You managed to climb the things pretty well.
You're pretty good at climbing, you just weren't that great at hitting
terrible at hiding.
I mean, I was always a good climber at school and at home and stuff like that.
Yeah. Which is funny because your character's like the shortest out of everyone.
But the most athletic.
Yeah. You're like 3 feet tall or something, right?
It's a beautiful thing in my mind's eye. Every time that he's leapt up something, it's just this little guy.
Like fully Spider-Manning it up. Yeah. So I keep knocking my microphone there. Apologies, listeners.
Yeah.
You can hear the difference between the first and the last episodes in the way that we're doing the combat and things, though. Because in the first episode, before we did anything, we'd ask, and in the last one, it's just I'm gonna shoot this guy in the I'm gonna burn this guy while he's pissing. Like everything is just so natural.
We've got comfortable with it. And we're like, okay, I understand.
Yeah, and you were like, I'm gonna do a full lap of the map to jump over this log to stab a guy.
Yeah. Whereas at first I'm like, can I look around the corner?
Is that allowed?
Can I look? Do I have to roll to look? Why do I keep crouching? The other thing as well was
controls inverted.
The thing for me as well was the point where I realised that you just realised that about sneak attack damage and hiding and everything. I was like, oh no, Jason's being horrifically competent at this. This is
sneaky.
like to the point where like the first combat took us like an episode and a half to put on, and that last one was like a 25-minute section, and it was like. There was more enemies and there was everything, and I was like, oh, they've got it now. I should have made this a bit harder.
It's because we recorded it over essentially 2 nights, and the first 3 obviously were on the first one. Going away from that, that's when everything started to click, and I was like, oh, I should just always hide at the end of my turn, and I get all of the extra advantages.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you like that class works as well, isn't it? Because like you've got the ability to like do stuff then hide, as opposed to like hiding instead of doing stuff, and then so
it's just like I am now hidden again. I get advantage when I hit you. This is much better.
Yeah.
Well, that's the only way I could take anyone down, especially the bugbears at the end. They had so much health, so it was. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot different to what I thought, but also kind of what I was expecting. If that makes sense. Like the system was what I thought it was going to be, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I mean, I like it for the sort of the fact it just gives like a toolbox of like, hey, here's a bunch of stuff, go and make your story, kind of thing.
It's kind of the ultimate game engine, because it is just like these are the rules you can follow. You can literally do anything with these tools, which is eventually what games will hopefully be. But in the meantime, this is probably the best.
Yeah, it's like we've got to imagine it and we'll talk it into a microphone. Yay! If this was I've forgotten about Imagination Land.
I've been spending a lot of time in Imagination Land as we've been playing.
I'll throw my noob hands up one more time if you like, and
do it.
Say
throw them up like you just don't care.
Yeah, just burn myself right now about saying this as well. The other expectation, that's true. The other expectation of and this is where you could probably like elaborate on the differences maybe, but in our town and stuff, we do have those game workshops. Now that's another kind of thing that I would have thought like that's what it's associated with. So I probably
as in literally the company.
Like, is there a board? Is there going to be characters? And
actually, literally the company games workshop.
Yeah, the store,
like Warhammer.
You can see people, playing the game there. I think there's a certain.
That's a little different. That's more of like a war game type thing where like your army versus army and stuff, and like a lot of people play it, and I used to play it and that. But
I think it's the idea that there was a physical representation of something on a desk that I kind of thought. I wonder whether that comes into it or not.
I mean, it can do. I mean, we kind of did that on the screen.
Well, Euro maps. Yeah.
But they're too cheap for figurines.
Well, the thing as well is that it's a bit of an adjustment for me, because like when I played before, normally rather instead of having like the map on the screen and being like, okay, where do you want to move to, and then moving stuff around, I'm not having to like stay in front of a microphone so I can be heard and that, which admittedly was a problem in the first session where I kept turning my head away and being like, trying to talk over my shoulder and the microphone not picking it up. Normally I'm like stood at, we'll be in combat, I'll be like stood out, the map will be in the centre of the table, and I'll be like, right, so what are you doing here? And I am moving counters and stuff, and I haven't got any kind of models really in the right scale for the size graph paper we're using. But
I think it also realised that it proves you don't need it. if you are open to the imagination side, side.
I mean, different systems and like different people running the game would be like, some might favour like the map approach like completely, and there's some really great stuff out there of like you can get like fully realised kind of terrain maps and everything.
Yeah.
Like, there's companies where like you can kind of build your own character in that, and then they'll make a figurine of it and you can paint it and stuff.
That's cool.
So
I could imagine with 3D printing being such a big thing, and like getting more and more popular.
So that's kind of one end of the spectrum. Then the other end of the spectrum is like completely like imagining it. So we're kind of in the middle where I've got a map on the screen and I'm just like, okay, this is my terrible drawing of what this area looks like from above.
It's all functional. It helps with the visualization, that's for sure. Like,
but certainly for the action sets, it helps.
Oh yeah. I would hope that anybody that's listened to this, like, that they've at least given it a quick glance, so that they can kind of like help their mind's eye a little bit.
Yeah.
On rare occasions, we're actually in the map that we're meant to be in.
True. The last combat we did do slightly different.
Yeah,
stuff.
2 out of 3 times you were in the road. To the point now where I've made extra maps.
You're like, I'll come to you.
I've got one made just in case you get in a fight in somewhere where I've got no intention of there being a fight.
That sounds like a challenge.
Sounds like you're going to set fire or something.
Kicking in every door and just setting fire to things.
Where's the fight?
Where's the map, AJ? Where's the fucking map? Yeah. But yeah, no, I like the sort of middle approach. Like, I think you can quickly kind of draw up a map and be like, oh, hey, here's what it vaguely looks like. But the terrain stuff's really cool, but I haven't got the time or the money to spend on doing that.
It's kind of wasted on an audio podcast.
Yeah.
I think if we were doing a video,
you need visual.
Then it helps to have the visuals. But even then, you can just sit around. I mean, it's like, do Critical Role use?
They use physical maps most of the time. But generally just for combat kind of thing. But if I did that, I'd want to do I'd have like an overhead camera on a map on the table, instead of like we got the really long table with just snacks on it.
I mean, they're vital things.
Yeah.
The dice are currently on the sofa.
There's a big,
me and Mark, like they're about to be.
It's a brand new big bag of dice that you guys haven't seen before.
That was a very politically correct thing to do to those dice.
With their consent.
These are our winnings.
You're gonna go to town on that bag of dice.
As long as as long as they want me to.
Roll a d25.
Yeah.
Shit. Critical fail. They eat me.
So, like, as for sort of like expectations of what happens next, I mean, like, what bits did you kind of like think? Oh, I really enjoyed that. I hope there's more of that, or like, that wasn't so much fun. Like,
I really enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I couldn't pick. I don't think I could pick a specific thing, because it's kind of like you have to have a bit of everything. You have to have a bit of the kind of like the investigation time, the walking around talking to people, a little bit of the organisation, what are we doing, buying, that kind of stuff, and then obviously getting into combat and the core of what's the pressure here, what's the thing that we're dealing with. And yeah, I feel like obviously you've got some practice doing it, but it was a decent scenario. Like I think it worked very nicely. Yeah, I mean, I've been running like D&D this version of the game for, I guess, on and off for like 2 years. Okay. Because we ran one campaign for about a year, and then we've been sort of on and off for like the last 9 months or so with the other one, which is sort of off again at the moment. But obviously now I'm doing this as well, so it's that. And prior to that, we did like a 2-3 year game of like a Star Wars one, which we are going to play later on the podcast. So yeah, I've got a bit of experience with it, but like it's interesting to adapt it to the podcast kind of thing, because there are things I've got to kind of leave, like sort of the map thing's different, and it's odd to, again, I'm a bit more animated maybe if I'm at the table normally, but then of course there's more time to look up rules or be like, okay, we'll just go off on random tangents or whatever, because rather than staying focused and things. So it's a little bit of a different experience kind of thing.
Because we all tried to stay, although we didn't know what the story we were meant to be following was, we all tried to stay focused. By saying we all tried, I tried to stay focused on it whilst was learning everything. I wonder if that might help the actual kind of like, just in terms, obviously AJ, you're the only one that could actually weigh in on this, like does it help to sort of like drive the story forward and feel like there's like a continuing narrative that way, where like I could imagine that in a more casual circumstance, if we weren't recording, if it was just sort of like, hey, we can have 20 minutes of like talking about the food that we're eating or something completely mundane. I can imagine it'd be quite easy to lose plot threads, and in particular lose the sense of momentum. Like I felt like, especially listening back to it, like we had a good momentum going. Like things were moving forward at a nice pace. Like
we had the pause moments, the brief bits, mostly to sort of
have
do the silly things like that, exactly.
Yeah.
Get the
just have it if you don't have pocket pork.
Stuff some banner into your wounds, that kind of thing. Like the little moments like that.
Like trying to pat it down with
I mean, I think that's partly down to editing. I kind of wanted to keep the pace going a bit, but you guys were quite good at sort of staying on track. But I'm talking in other games of literally like, almost like talking about, you know, the game's meant to be going on, but like you sat there just talking about work or whatever.
Okay.
And so that's kind of, it's a little frustrating if I'm running the game.
I think even if you weren't recording, if I'd come here to play D&D,
yeah.
we do the same thing as when we do record. We turn up, we talk about whatever we talk about, and then it's the same when we're gaming, just normally, and then we focus on trash talking.
Just griefing each other.
None of us have the time to sit around constantly bitching about work or anything.
None of us care anything.
Exactly. I want to have a good time. I'm not here for that.
That's what Twitter's for.
Exactly. Yeah, if you really want to bitch about stuff, we'll bitch about stuff.
You can find us on Twitter at AJ
yeah, you'll definitely see me bitching about work on Twitter if you go there.
I might just change my Twitter handle to retweets everything that AJ says, because that's all I've been doing for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I've been tagging you guys in a lot of stuff.
I've got no original thoughts anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Eden, you're lucky you're not on Facebook, because these guys get tagged. Like anytime I like share a thing, I'm like, I was like, Mark and Jason are in this as well. I'll tag them again. But like, I really like I went on one of your pages and I was like, it's just a stream of things that I've posted.
Probably mine.
And like,
mine's probably a mixture of that and just cat memes. that's all my Facebook page is.
It's a good stuff. Surely that's all it's good for at this point.
I guess anything's worth putting on there. Let's be honest.
Good riddance. Long gone from Facebook.
Yeah. We've got a few questions that people have sent in.
What? Questions? Oh, you were quite incredulous.
How dare you, sir?
This interview is over.
You're not in character.
Okay.
We've had some questions that a few people have sent in that I think would be good to go through. Yeah, see, I don't think we've covered too much of the stuff already. Some of it we might have touched on, but it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. Just thinking then. Oh, this is quite a fun one to start off with then. So this is sort of specific to stuff that happened. Our friends on the Chimpions RPG podcast have said, which provides better mood lighting, a burning goblin or burning looks?
Ooh. Well, I'm inclined to say a burning goblin for obvious reasons.
I quite like the lighting given off when a goblin's fallen mouth first onto a torch. That's a special kind of lighting that you just can't get anywhere else.
It's the kind of thing that IKEA does not put forward.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a certain smoky ambience.
It is the Luther Vandross of goblin-based lighting.
And now in my mind's eye there is a man crooning while the goblin bones on the ground.
Just screeching on the ground.
I smell a pork scratching.
I still can't believe it. I was rolling so low for like the first. I think the first damage roll I rolled was like a 9, and he had like mid-20s kind of amount of HP because he was like the goblin boss kind of character.
Just didn't die, and then the fire just didn't spread.
I kept rolling 1s for damage, and then I kept I had like a 50-50 system for whether the fire would spread. I was literally like, if I roll 1 to 10 on the d20, it would not spread. If I rolled 10 to 20, it was going to spread, and I just kept rolling like no damage, like little damage, and like no fire spreading. So he's in like this little cone of fire, just like for like 10 turns or something stupid like that.
It's like a minute.
It is like a minute.
I'm just lying there being like, shit. Why am I not standing up?
And nobody helping him. And then when he finally did manage to stand up, like the last of his HP died, and he took like 3 steps and just died. And it was, I probably should have just stopped it and been like, yeah, he's dead now. But like, it just at a certain point, it was just funny.
Yeah, I had like images of when a rogue AI in a computer game goes wrong, and you've already killed most of the group, but yeah, there's a fire, and the character's stuck in the corner of a room just burning. It's like just drop, okay, just drop down.
Drop and roll. Like something's gone wrong in The Sims. And like, you're trying to tell them to extinguish, but they just stand there going, "Oh no, there's a fire!" Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for more from that. That was as far as random first moves go, and then having it pan out. I feel like that authorised Pronce's ability to then throw
That was
fire around.
it was very clear that that's when you decided your character was a fucking nut job.
Yeah, because
I was like, it worked. Wonderful. I guess I'm going to keep doing
grease
things
and
like
fire
this.
equals bigger fire. Glorious.
in terms of opening moves as well, I did enjoy the one where you're like, I'm going to do my chromatic orb, and I could see it in your eye. You're like, this is going to one shot him, and it took a lot of damage. And I was like, he's still standing, and you were like, oh shit.
The thing
It was
about
kind of funny.
time to run 30 feet in the other direction.
I then say, good luck, Fork, when he's led on the floor under a bush, not even hidden properly.
I feel like in that first bit of action, everybody's first move pretty much was like a telltale sign of what they're going to do for future. So like, Ron's character throws fire. It's like, okay, we're going to see where he's going.
You threw your sword and missed.
I attempt to throw something and miss, and that's my life all over in that game. And then NFA over here just like.
I think you were vaguely competent. Yeah, you were vaguely competent. You were like hiding behind.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to go here, hide here. But in that entire fight, I made one of the like 5 shots I made, but it was the only one the other 2 characters saw.
Yeah.
So from the other 2 characters' perspective, like, that guy hits some things.
He's pretty.
In my
good.
perspective, I'm like, 1 out of 5 is okay, I guess.
But then you rescued the girl, so that's fine.
We did rescue the girl. I did do the thing.
You did the thing.
And then Bolt nearly scared the shit out of the girl.
And the owlbear.
You rescued the owlbear. That's all you, buddy.
I was happy.
The fact that you picked that up and then it was relevant later is a testament to AJ's DMing skills.
I was a little bit of improv there because
Yeah,
I was
I
like, I'd drawn a little toy on the map, and you were like, "Are there any toys?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess there's a toy." And then I was like, "Well, it's that girl's bedroom. Of course, it'd be her toy."
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It was good. It was
a nice opportunity to show that Prance isn't a heartless man, as much as he wanted that.
I figured that
wanted
could-
to
yeah.
press it onto the child.
I figured that could have gone either way on that one, like, because you were like,
I was worried.
Yeah, you were like proper, like, oh, it's my toy though.
I'd like us to bump into a 7-foot owlbear. Feature episode.
And Bronze just to be like, yay, friend! You use the potion of animal friendship. That way,
I didn't know if an owlbear counts as animal. It's more of a beast.
but it's both an owl and a bear. Surely it's a double animal.
I tell you what, I'll look it up now. We'll see what happens.
The most what's the next question? We'll answer the next question.
Okay, well-
abomination. Surely that's what an owlbear is.
Well, the most of the questions come from our friends at the Moisture Farmers podcast. Okay, at what point, if any, did your character come alive for you and shift from being like on paper to like a persona you could kind of shift into and get to know? Kind of thing.
I was kind of I've done improv and drama. I did it at school and I was always really into it. So it was kind of. I will bench press you, son.
Mark is one of the cool kids. He was a jock.
Not at all.
So
I'm a delicate wallflower.
So I was actually kind of, as soon as I decided that this is the character, that was just then, that was who I was playing. And it was much easier to do with both of your characters being quite unique as well. It was much easier for me to play my character knowing that you guys were playing your characters.
Oh, you're the definite straight man to this situation. And I liked that you noticed that as well real quick, like, oh, I can play surly, grumpy elf.
Yeah.
If these guys are going to be drinking bawdy types, then I can go in completely the other direction.
Yeah, which was nice, because it like having such easily defined roles, especially when it just fit. It's not like we discussed that that's how it was going to be. It just fell in, because that's how I play games anyway. If I'm playing an RPG, I play like, lawful good the vast majority of the time.
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Well, I think like going into it, you had kind of said like, okay, he's like really honourable, but like he's kind of cynical, and that was kind of all you went into. And then when we did like the first kind of intro bit, you were like, what if he's like old and stuff? But then, so you were like, and his family's all been killed or something. I was like, oh, okay, so this is where
We
this
were
is going.
talking about it, and then it was just like, no, I'll just make him a bit grumpy. It'll be fine.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how it played out. But like that kind of worked because you were like, well, it's been actually still like 60, 70 years since your family did die.
Yeah. So you've
had 60 years of just being like, well, I'm not happy about it, but like I'm getting on with stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But then there was a bit in the bar as well, and it's like, how old's the barmaid? It's like, oh, she's like mid-30s, and I was like, oh no, wait, she's like a 2-year-old to me. No,
They got to be
104, 128.
You'll be like triple figures, or you feel weird about it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh. Well, it's what, half your age plus 7, so she'd have to have been like
So to be like
75.
Surely the elves have to adjust that rule.
I don't know.
So, wouldn't it?
I think if I was 100, because my character's 128.
I think so.
Although I might make him 129 because it was my birthday recently. And it's much
That's fair
easier
enough.
for him to be
Yeah,
100 years
you
old.
celebrated your birthday during.
Yeah. During saving.
And you just your character just didn't bring it up.
Well, I've had 128 birthdays. This is not a big thing anymore. Yeah,
They don't make that number of
of
candles.
You just run out.
Yeah.
There's more candle than cake at that point.
You'd have just gotten some kind of prestidigitation. Did I say it right?
No, not at all.
Oh, it sounded good.
He's been working.
I would have used the prestige as promise
You
to
know-
celebrate your birthday.
You left a T out of it. Prestidigitation.
Oh, you were so close.
It was.
I'd have done some magic.
Side note.
I'd have made that there magic.
done pings.
Now I've got the Monster Manual in my hand, and owlbear is considered large, so it's like 10 feet long, and like
But is it an animal?
no,
Can
it's a monstrosity.
We can't cuddle it.
It sounds
Are you telling me I can't cuddle the owlbear?
I mean, you can try.
Will I die?
Well,
What if I sneak? No, that's rape. I can't sneak cuddle things. That's not acceptable.
Does it have large talons?
I mean, like, there's no, there are notes here about like taming them.
I got it.
There's notes here about taming them. It's just sort of basically saying like, hey, you know,
Can they be tamed?
they can be tamed. It's a lot of work. It's more work than a regular animal.
Wait, can rogues fucking be tamed?
I'm just thinking, which spells do I have that could possibly lead in this direction?
This is the thing.
Well, rangers are the ones that can choose to like get an in-class animal companion, but
Okay.
like as just like a story point of view, you could have an owlbear that you're friendly with. And that, like, I'm not saying like no, you can't possibly have.
I have met this owlbear before.
Yeah.
Next owlbear we run into, and you'll be like, Dave,
Hey friend,
how have you fucking been?
that might require some skill checks.
Good
I'm on board.
Some really good rolls. We could still have a chance to turn to Sesame Street at this rate now. Crazy characters.
There's some stats in there for some pretty big birds. So like,
Isn't there an end Magic the Gathering like Dungeons and Dragon like role playing book?
I think there might be like a third party one.
Yeah, no, because Wizards of the Coast, I think they released their own. They do. They occasionally do stats and stuff based on the planes that they have in MTG.
Oh no, I did see that. Yeah, no, it's not a book. It's like a PDF file. I think I actually downloaded it because they do like a sort of semi-regular sort of column on the website of like, hey, here's some new test rules and stuff. And
Yeah.
like they've been putting up kind of extra options for different classes, and I think they did put up something that was to do with Magic.
It'd be interesting
the
doing
Gathering.
that at some point.
Might have been like
as a big old Magic.
It's more like a kind of setting sort of
Yeah.
thing, and yeah,
It'd be cool.
See,
I
we're-
still need to teach you guys Magic. So
yeah.
I've now got
Like rabbits out of hats and shit.
yeah. No, like
I'm down for that.
Like-
Prestidigitation.
yes, prestidigitation. Prestidigitation.
I'm not even going to try.
Did you fucking pronounce it correctly?
Vegetation.
Prestidigitation.
Tation. Are you being Bronto Eden? I don't know anymore.
I've had like 4.5 hours sleep today. Leave me alone.
We'll give you a donut in a minute. You'll be fine.
How about you two? Like, was there a moment where you were like kind of changed from like, well, here's a character sheet to like, here's my character, this is who I'm playing, sort of thing?
Oh, for me, it was definitely what we talked about already.
Yeah.
That moment of hitting the windowsill, and it didn't all go wrong after that. And I felt like it was a move that was probably completely wrong. And I know you guys definitely had a moment of like, what? You threw fire at the house instead of the bad guy. What?
Yeah, but it kind of crystallized you like, oh, this is my guy. This is what
Exactly.
I'm
It's
doing.
sort of like I'm coming out of left field here. I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to like I'm going to go over here, and you're going to worry for a second, but I'll pull it back around. Don't worry.
I think I'm not sure an exact point. I think interestingly, before we even started this, like minutes before we were going to, we all just discussed actually putting on voices, didn't we?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is coming into it completely like fresh. So I think we all dropped it very early because it was like, wow, this is.
Well,
gonna
I
take some work
kind
to
of didn't, but like
think about it. Well,
more
you
for
were
just sort of.
yeah,
I've just got to know some accents for like different
Yeah.
types of like the dwarves for some reason are like Colin Farrell Irish because like I didn't want to go like full on like but I was
Not
like
space
I was like I can kind of talk
Space
like
Irish.
Colin Farrell in
That's
like
a reference to that.
yeah in like movies that he's talking in his regular voice. So just kind of put a little bit of that on me. You're right there, lads, coming over here,
Yeah.
sort of thing. I was like I could do that one fairly comfortably. So I have the bar like
It could
the
be the
bar
bar
running
stuff.
dwarf talk like that and things. So that was like, okay, that's not a huge stretch.
Oh, sorry, Space Irish, just for reference.
Oh, God.
That's the Trek Talk podcast that we've done. There is a fairly infamous episode of Next Generation that involves the Space Irish.
It's called Up the Long Ladder, and it's terrible.
They get beamed on top.
Although it does have the best Riker pickup line ever, because there's this quite sort of like angry kind of like woman as part of the Space Irish, and she's like, "What's the matter? Have you never seen a woman before?" And he goes, "I thought I had." And
That's smooth.
That's smooth as fuck. Yeah.
Holy shit, Riker.
It's quite something.
And I don't know what
to talk about that on the Pop Culture Podcast. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Do it.
Plug.
We've
Cross promotion.
just put up Trek Talk 6. Yeah.
Yes.
Episode 50.
Okay, so let's look at another question.
I am the guest.
Is a fairly softball question. Favourite drink or snack around the table?
I've not really brought much with me most weeks. I think I've brought 2 cans of cider with me. I got some strawberry and lime cider. It's quite
Any kind
nice.
of alcohol.
I think we started strong on the first recording with pizzas being brought, and I think now the regular thing that comes in is Pringles. Pretty much they show up.
And Oreos. I didn't bring Oreos.
You taught me about Oreos.
I did. I taught Mark. There was a touching moment where I taught another man about Oreos. I opened them from behind him as I held his hands and then fed him. It got a bit weird.
Simply Red was playing.
Yeah.
Always Simply Red.
Yeah. It was quite a moment. I think that's one of the biggest things I took away from the game was Oreos.
The biggest thing
You're like, I've liked playing this game, but on the other hand, Oreos though.
Also Oreos.
Well, there were those couple of images that you put up, the pictures that you took while we were together in that moment.
Mark
And one of them
sponsored
is
by
Mark
Oreos.
displaying Oreos.
Yeah.
Like, hey, wow, have you seen these things?
Holy shit, guys. I don't know if you've heard about Oreos. Everyone's heard about Oreos. Everyone.
I mean, I'm addicted to Pepsi Max as normal, but then they've reciprocated and told me that I'm their beverage, so that's fine.
That's got to be a top 10.
Of course they did. Yeah, that was
That's
fantastic.
top 10 moment.
They tweeted back to me on Valentine's Day. It was great. It's the highlight of my year.
The corporate PR account tweeted back.
It's been a shit year. Okay. This is still from Moisture Farmers. Again, this one's kind of relevant to me. We sort of talked about it a little bit, but saying what's the hardest thing to get used to for the podcast as opposed to playing as a game around the table. I mean, you guys haven't really played other than on the podcast, so it's kind of sort of skewed your sort of perception of it, really, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like,
we probably would have spoken with less elevated voices if there weren't microphones.
Literally.
Literally, right?
Much more crosstalk.
I mean, there's a lot anyway.
That's exactly it. It's trying to hear a lot. It's usually me. I do apologise.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was going to say now. I just apologise. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I kind of said it earlier. For me, it's sort of just like in terms of like I've kind of got to stay in front of a microphone, and other than that, though, I'm still just running the game I normally run, pretty much. Putting a bit more time maybe into making sure I know all the NPC names, and doing voices is a little bit of a new thing for me, but it's not the first time I've done it, so it's kind of like, but I guess maybe just putting in a bit more effort, because I'm like, well, if I'm putting it out for people to hear, I want to, sort of try and make it a bit more presentable, sort of thing, other than just like, right, settle the fuck down, let's roll some dice.
Listen, bitches.
I don't think I've ever been that angry at a table.
I can't imagine that'd be very fun game.
No, but like, right, you motherfuckers, I don't want to hear
Roll your dice.
I don't want to hear a word from you unless you're telling me numbers.
In character.
Yeah. Domo arigato.
You start the game. A dragon lands on you. Roll for survival.
So I guess that's that.
That's why I'm not DM.
You
get eaten. There is no roll.
What, if any, other gaming podcasts do you enjoy?
I can't say I've listened to many or seen much. I have seen a little bit of Critical Role.
I think I might have shown you some clips and stuff.
Enough to sort of get the flavour of it.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a podcast, and it is quite outdated at this point, but my main experience with kind of listening to Dungeons and Dragons or like sort of tabletop gaming type stuff is the Spoonie Experiment, which is absolutely dead and defunct at this point because the guy went into full-blown internet meltdown.
So it's not even available anywhere.
It's available, but it's not current, and I don't know what it's like after a point.
Right.
But it was basically the guy sitting down and doing a series called Counter Monkey, where he sat down and explained, he's the DM, and it was examples of here's people doing things at the table that they really shouldn't, and how did I deal with it? And a lot of the time it was kind of humorous things where he would be like, well, here's the scenario we went through, here's what happened, and it was kind of amusing.
Yeah.
But right now I've just got no time for a lot of stuff. Like that's the main problem. Adult life's in the way, and I've got I'm connected to a lot of podcasters, a lot of people. Out of the bunch of us, I think I'm the one that's got like a lot of disparate networks of people that I'm sort of like on the fringe of, should we say? And I'm trying to sort of like find more time to listen to their stuff, let alone anything specifically about games. So
I think
if it's out there and it gets pointed at me, then I tend to have a listen to at least one episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are you able to sort of listen while you're working?
I work a night shift for the sake of listeners that don't know me personally or anything. So I've got a reasonable amount of time to actually fill with sort of like dead air, as it were, like that. I can just pop the headphones on, listen to something. But the problem is that I'm doing physical work a lot of the time, so there's a balance on that of like, if I'm listening to something very involved and a continuing narrative, and then I've got to carry 50 chairs across a building. Yeah,
it's the distraction factor.
Exactly. So
fair enough. I mean, I'm sure I've got some.
I feel like I'm making excuses for somebody that's got a podcast is asking, do I listen to their podcast? But I'm like,
it's a little bit.
Should I? Oh, don't hate me.
Nah.
I mean, there's no surprise from you.
You're kind of on podcasts, but you don't listen to a lot of them, though, do you?
I know, how hypocritical is that, right? Listen to mine, I won't listen to yours.
It's like Nathan.
Nathan didn't even listen to mine.
Is Nathan dead?
He's moved to Portsmouth.
So yes.
Yeah.
I think
for the purpose of this podcast.
I'll be honest, I don't listen to a lot of that. Anything really on that. The things I've found that I like are probably a bit niche, because I'm mostly just into art and design stuff, so I haven't listened to a lot. And like we've said, I'm the noob here, so I'm not going to have listened to much in the way of gaming stuff.
Fair enough. Yeah. Jason?
All the podcasts I listen to are either startup business related, which is really serious, or Magic Theory, MTG Theory.
Yeah.
Or
again, put a rabbit's hat.
I know.
Into the other.
Or
for a second, I was like, what, like Darren Brown techniques, that kind of stuff.
or computer games or psychology.
Yeah.
So I don't listen to many gaming podcasts just because I tend to try to absorb new information about stuff. I don't listen to many entertainment podcasts, really. It's probably something I could do because I've got lots of extra time now.
Yeah.
So by all means, tweet.
I can suggest you some. Yeah, and listeners can tweet.
@AnyDay_Strife.
Well, if there's the potential that
I don't know what your
Twitter handle is.
It's your Twitter handle, man. You know.
If there's the potential that we're going to do like guesting, crossover type stuff, then I definitely I'm very interested in listening to anybody that's up for doing that. Like if they've got a podcast, they can fire off of me, and I'll definitely have a listen to that. The only other thing I would say, just now that you got me thinking on the subject, is that as somebody that makes this content, there is a part of me that's kind of like, I don't find as much time for other people's stuff. Like the way me and Mark do pop culture, like I don't listen to other people talking about films or TV shows for the most part, because it's sort of like I don't want to absorb their opinions. I don't want to have their style influence too much.
That's fair enough.
I've got my own thoughts on that. And I suppose with the gaming related things, a lot of it is sort of like, if you can find a group you like, then that's probably the hook. Like if you find people where their personalities in some way shape or form, like you hear something that clicks, then I
mean, that's the way I kind of approach, like whether it's podcasts or YouTube groups or whatever. It's like I'm not watching it for the dice rolling, I'm watching it for the people that I like, kind of thing, if that makes sense. And like if a group, because I've checked out a few, the content's gotten better and better over the year. Like go back, like I'm talking like 3-4 years ago. Like I kind of I watched like the Acquisitions Incorporated stuff, which was like the official D&D one, which is still running with the guys from Penny Arcade as well, and that was good. And then I was like, okay, what else is there on YouTube of like stuff? And at that point there wasn't a lot at all, and like there was some like really kind of sort of long form videos where it's clearly like they just set up a camera and were filming their session, which is not a bad thing, but like the people were a little boring, let's put it that way. And it was like it's nothing in it to grab me to pull it in, so I can totally see where you're coming from with that. It's sort of I'm watching or I'm listening for the people that I like, kind of thing. I don't know what am I listening to at the moment. I mean, there's a whole bunch of new ones that I've just tried out because we've all started talking to each other and networking since we started this, so I won't go into a long list of names right now for that, but like outside of because we've got an announcement coming up at some point for that, so I'll hang on to that. But yeah, outside of that, I don't know. Critical Role, which is now a podcast. Before it was just a Twitch show. They've just started putting up the audio from their old episodes. Adventure Zone's pretty good. I'd at a stretch say Harmontown, like that like the D&D portion of that has gone down. I mean, it was never a particularly high hill anyway, but like before I was truly was like, okay, this, knew what gaming podcast could be like. It was like, oh cool, look, they're playing D&D on this, but like they're just drunk off their fucking asses, and like they play for like 20 minutes and like they never remember what they did the next week, and it's kind of a little bit sort of like, okay, well this isn't cool anymore.
It's one thing I've kept in the back of my mind, and I don't know if it's something that the rest of you guys have, of sort of like, there are people listening to this. Like,
yeah.
I didn't want to sit down and then have that thing of being so lax or whatever it is, kind of like, oh yeah, we're all just having a laugh. Like, we have our moments, obviously, but like, I definitely felt like I wanted to give a degree of, like, not performance, but
it was
something worth listening to.
It was kind of a performance, and I wanted to make sure that we weren't trying. Like, I did remember what we'd done previously, so I did listen to every episode as it came out, because it was a good opportunity for me to keep the story fresh in my mind.
Yeah. Their timing's worked out quite well on this one as well, because number 6 just went up when we recorded this.
Yeah. Which is nice.
And we'll be doing some more later.
So it is actually fresh in our mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It was kind of like people might actually listen to this other than us. So
yeah, and it's a funny one, just balancing, and I suppose this is something everybody that's podcasting, making YouTube stuff, whatever, has to sort of keep in mind, is like, you can't expect a big audience, you shouldn't expect reaction or anything, but you should at least act like you do.
Yeah.
Don't go home begging for it, and don't get pissed off if it doesn't happen, but do invite it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy that anyone's listening at all, and we seem to have picked up a couple of people here and there, and thank you so much for listening, kind of thing. I say that in my kind of intro type thing, but no, I'm not lying. It's literally just like, wow, people actually, thank you for listening, kind of thing.
It's fun enough to do to do it.
I mean, I'd want to play the game anyway, and we were we were talking about playing the game anyway, and then it was just a thing of like, other podcast ended, and I was like, I might start an RPG podcast.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to play on the podcast instead of just playing, kind of thing? And
and we're all used to being.
Well, that's kind of why I was like, that's kind of why I was like, want to start it off with you guys, because like you were all perfectly happy talking on microphones, sort of thing. So
the only mild trepidation I had was a certain amount of like, where you, Jason, obviously said like you've done improv, you've done some stage stuff, even if it was back in school. Like, I never did any of that. Like, I was always the one that was like, oh my god, performance anxiety, I cannot open my mouth right now. Like, the way that I talk now is so much more eloquent than I ever was in the past. So it's nice to sort of jump in and take a swing at that.
Give it a go, Okay, we've got one more question from Moisture Farmers. That is, what games in it? They're a Star Wars RPG podcast.
I assumed that was the case.
Anyone like a porn company.
I mean, they could diversify, I suppose. And,
Moisture evaporators. They can have that idea for free.
Yeah. They say, what other games in addition to D&D do each of you play? Talking sort of, whether it's video games or tabletop games or whatever,
Where do I even start? Bloody
well, what are you playing at the moment?
Metal Gear Phantom Pain is the current game that I'm playing in terms of computer stuff, but then that's sort of like alongside about 5 or 6 other things. Devil Survivor 2, Overclocked.
What's a good game?
Not Overclocked, Record Breaker, I forget the subtitle for that one. Binding of Isaac. I've been playing a lot of Talisman, actually. That's a good...
we had that long session on... was it your birthday? I think it was your birthday.
And it all went to pot because the
game glitched out and we couldn't get to the last area.
It didn't glitch out in the end. I know what was wrong. Somebody had accepted a quest which meant they couldn't go past a certain square.
Okay.
But I've got a few more expansion packs for that now, and I've gotten a couple of friends that I can play with online into it. And that's a game that it's much like this, where it's people rolling dice to see what they get on hits and that kind of stuff, but with a bit more of a constricted tabletop board game type thing going on. I've been playing tons of that lately because it sucks up 4 or 5 hours at a time quite easily.
I suppose you can kind of almost have it on in the background while doing other
pretty
stuff.
much, yeah. Stick a film on, sitting. Well, no film that you want to pay attention to, but like some dumb American Pie type thing or something. Something you haven't seen for 15 years just to see what it's like. So that's what I've been playing, what have you.
Yeah.
Do I embarrass myself further?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think you're embarrassing yourself. You just got different strokes for different folks.
For the video game, I was more of a video gamer, like I said, jokingly around the PS2 time.
Been playing a lot of Minesweeper recently.
A lot of that shit. GTA. I love the GTA series. I'll say that. The last video game I've been playing is like the Batman games.
What, the Arkham ones?
trilogy
Yeah.
they did, and I really like the PS4 versions of Tomb Raider. I can hear myself just like
grasping at straws.
That's fair enough. Yeah, no. Well, you're not a big gamer. Yeah,
I'm just not a big gamer. As far as board games go, it's classic family stuff with like Monopoly. It was an awesome game. I had Goosebumps one day at Horrorland, the board game, and they had a whole 3D kind of mousetrap set up, which was pretty cool. And
you still got it. We should play that.
Oh yeah, I've got it up in the attic back there.
Yeah.
And Adventure of the Dinosaurs or Valley of the Dinosaurs, which had like a volcano in the corner, and lava would come out and it advanced across the. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get excited for that. I love Sonic.
Jason?
I'm playing Binding of Isaac at the moment because I've got no internet, and Binding of Isaac's a good game to just kind of sit down and play.
Fair enough. You're always playing Binding of Isaac, though, aren't you?
Shut up.
If you played it as well, you'd know that everybody that plays Binding of Isaac
Once you start, you never stop.
Playing Binding of Isaac.
Binding of Isaac plays you, not the other way around. I've been playing. I finished Persona 5 recently, and I just got Splatoon 2, so I'm going to be playing that once I get internet back. Kingdom Hearts I'm replaying because I bought the HD collection.
Fair enough.
And I play a lot in terms of physical games. I play a lot of Magic, Magic the Gathering.
You write articles for?
Yeah, I've written a few articles. Wizards shared one, which was cool, and so yeah, they get picked up occasionally.
Cool.
I haven't written one in a while, but
You're into the Wizards of the Coast. We can get some D&D inside.
I'll get all on it.
Yeah.
With my contacts, I definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've actually just started running the Friday Night Magic helping out at Bag of Holding,
Nice.
which is the new store in the Triangle.
Yeah.
As of yesterday.
Ooh,
So
very, very recent then. Breaking news.
The hottest of takes.
Ooh, this takes hot. Somebody get some oven gloves.
Yeah, I went in having not played one of the formats for a while and accidentally won, just through luck more than anything else, but I'll take it.
Fair enough. So, cool. Okay, we've got one last question. This is from Steve Early at SteveBoost. SteveBoost.
I don't know why we've taken to do it now whenever we say your name, but
SteveBoost. He said, well, actually, he's got a couple of questions. One of which is for me, and then the other one is kind of like a quick fire thing to end it on, I think. He says, what's the hardest thing about DMing for a bunch of noobs?
True.
I guess it's not really hard, and I do enjoy doing it. It's kind of a little bit of sort of having to stop and explain rules sometimes, and it doesn't hurt, really. I don't mind. It's fine. It doesn't hurt to refresh my memory and that as well, really. So, yeah. It's fine. I like it. And actually pretty much every group that I DM for has mostly been noobs every time. Or like one person in the group has played before or something, or so it's fine. I'm used to it.
yeah, you're with competent adults. Like,
Yeah, it's
we
fine,
can all
yeah.
do basic maths.
Yeah, mostly.
I can't say words at times, but I can do maths.
Prestidigitation.
Don't even tempt me to attempt to say that again.
Differentiation.
I've done a magic.
Yeah, I don't actually thinking about it. I don't really know like what it would be like if I had to DM for a group who was like, okay, we've all been playing the game for years, and like if I was starting new with them.
Do you think you'd feel more pressure?
I think I would to like not be terrible.
You're not terrible.
Like, you guys haven't got any frame of reference for me, so you're like, AJ's a great DM. I could be the worst.
He's the best DM. He's the best DM I've ever had.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But no, like I feel like there'd be a bit more pressure of like, especially if everyone's kind of like really hot on like they know the rules, they know their everything. And while it would be helpful for me to not have to look stuff up, I feel like there'd be more people there to call me out if I'm messing stuff up.
A lot more nitpicking at that kind of table. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I've played games that have run for a while. Like I say, that Star Wars run was for like 2 years, but like we all kind of learned it together, so it was sort of like, okay, well, we all of a similar level, and not in character level, but
Yeah.
No, so it's interesting. Okay, so Steve's final thing, I think we'll go out on this. Again, kind of topical because it ended last night. It says, in honour of At Midnight ending, Give me your cheesiest hashtag D&D movie puns.
I've been racking my brain because you queued us up with this before we even started recording.
Yeah, you've had a whole hour to think of them.
My sleep-addled brain is like, because I'm the one out of all of us that does all the At Midnight stuff and does the terrible hashtag jokes. I didn't look at. All right then, Jason. If you want to quietly tell me you've got one, you say it.
Go for it, man.
Dungeons and Dragons to hell.
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh man. I'm struggling to think.
I have one, but it's very specific.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Brother Owlbear. Brother Bear.
Nice. That's
It's
very
not
good.
a film I've
I
even
like
seen,
it.
but I know it's a film that exists.
I like it.
Paddington Owlbear.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Paddington was a friendly bear. He just liked eating people's heads.
My brain just isn't engaging. This is.
Lord of the Rings?
Wait,
Too easy?
Yeah, that's kind of more like a setting you can use, sort of.
There's a really bad cheesy B movie from the late 90s called Aberration. So chromatic aberration.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. This is like.
Give them time. I know that there's
Give
a
me time. That'd be a
golden
really
one
great one.
Cabin on Fire in the Woods.
He's on a roll now.
Let's go out on that one. That's pretty good. Yeah, unless you've got one, Mark.
No, I'm not.
Okay, Cabin on Fire in the Woods takes it, I think. Points. Yes.
Lemon gets to go to level 5.
Yeah, we totally scooped Hardwick on the last points.
Well, they're everybody's now. No,
Yeah.
They don't have reign over the points.
Yeah.
We can all dish out points if we want.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks for tuning in for this one, guys. We'll be back next time with the start of our second story arc. Which,
I'm leveling up.
Yeah, well, that's in between episodes. We're going to do that off mic, I think. Yeah, get that all sorted. But yeah, from next time, hopefully, if I can actually stop just watching DVDs and get on with it, our game episodes will now all have specially composed musical soundtracks and possibly sound effects as well. But I we'll see how that turns.
Very high production.
Yeah. No, you say that now, but it might be terrible. So the sound effects, I am really going to see how they turn out in the edit, kind of thing, because it might like completely detract from it, sort of thing. But the music is, I'm definitely going to do that. So
I'll look forward to it.
a step up in production quality, hopefully, or terrible chiptune music. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, cool. Thanks for listening, everyone. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Pretend with Dice. You can email us pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're listening to us on iTunes, be sure rate and review us and all that. It does help us find new listeners and everything, and we just want to hear your opinions and stuff. And cool. See you guys later.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Like later.